Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us for this Coronavirus HQ update. I'm Jordan Fremstead. The number of people in the U.S. who have died from coronavirus has hit 100,000, and the number continues to rise. This as more of the U.S. reopens. Naomi Ruckham reports from New York City, the epicenter of the nation's outbreak.
It took less than 4 months for COVID-19 to take more American lives than the Vietnam and Korean wars combined. And experts believe the real number is likely higher. Maureen O'Donnell writes obituaries for the Chicago Sun-Times and says for families of people dying, the forced distance adds to their pain. Amelia Pontarelli was an immigrant from Italy and the matriarch of Tony's Italian Deli in Edison Park, Illinois.
She survived the Nazis taking over her town in Italy, and at the end of her life, her family couldn't be with her. They sent a priest to the hospital, and that priest gave holy water to a nurse and blessed her. And then that nurse did a blessing by transference.
In Pennsylvania, State Representative Brian Sims took to Facebook Live to rail against Republican House leaders for allegedly concealing that a Republican lawmaker had tested positive. And the Speaker for the Illinois General Assembly has called on everyone who attended last weekend's special session to get tested or quarantine for 2 weeks. An employee at the arena where they met tested positive for the virus. New research published in the journal Science is warning 6 feet between individuals might not be enough, and that aerosol particles can accumulate and remain infectious in indoor air for hours. Increasing the flow of outdoor air and ensuring proper ventilation systems are some of the new CDC guidelines for offices that may be reopening. The CDC also wants employers to require workers to wear face coverings and prohibit touching of any kind. Walt Disney World has also announced it will reopen 2 of its parks on July 11th with limited capacity and without character meet and greets, fireworks, and parades. The Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex reopens today after bad weather postponed yesterday's launch of a manned SpaceX rocket. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
Now taking a look at the number of COVID-19 cases in Wisconsin, nearly 16,500 people have tested positive, 539 people have died. In some good news, more than 9,800 people have recovered. 2 new cases are being reported each in Jackson and Trempealeau counties, and 1 new case has been confirmed in both La Crosse and Vernon counties. In Minnesota, nearly 23,000 people have tested positive. That's out of more than 225,000 total tests completed. 967 people have died. Over 142,000 people in Iowa have been tested for COVID-19, and about 18,500 of those tests came back positive. 500 people have died in the state. Over 10,000 people have recovered. The La Crosse City Council is expected to vote on a budget reduction plan today, and departments are making plans to cope with the potential losses. The La Crosse Public Library is taking the biggest hit with $525,000 in budget cuts. Officials there say reductions in hours and staff are likely. Meanwhile, the La Crosse Center would lose $400,000. Director Art Fahey says some of the arena's maintenance, repairs, and staffing would be altered by the budget cuts. The construction project won't be affected, but the pandemic could not have hit the center at a worse time.
When we closed up, we were right in the key part of our year. That March, April, May is an important part of the year for us in raising revenue, because when we get done with the year, our job is to deliver the finances to cover our budget so there's no operating cost at all to the city.
The city's street and parks and rec departments would each lose $500,000, and the police and fire departments would each lose $100,000. Mayo Clinic Health System is updating their visitor restrictions starting Monday. 1 designated visitor will be allowed per patient. The visitor must wear a cloth face covering or a face mask following CDC guidance. A mask will be provided if needed, and any visitor will be screened for symptoms of acute respiratory illness or communicable infection before being allowed to enter. Exceptions could be made on a case-by-case basis for things like births or end-of-life care. Visitors under the age of 16 are not allowed, and those restrictions will remain in place until further notice. Gunderson Health System is also updating their visitor policy starting Monday. One person 16 years old or older may accompany a patient who has an appointment at Gunderson Clinic, Surgery Outpatient, Surgery Center, or Emergency Services location. Pediatric patients at Gunderson Clinic locations will continue to be allowed to have one person with them. All patients and visitors will be screened for COVID-19 symptoms when they arrive, and face coverings must be worn while at Gunderson facilities. Starting tomorrow, the Hunger Task Force will begin distributing food packages Fridays through the end of June. The packages will include fresh produce, meat, and dairy products. It's part of a $3 billion effort from the USDA to purchase food from farmers. Many families need assistance right now, so Hunger Task Force volunteers are acting fast.
At the warehouse, we typically don't distribute right to clients, but because these truckloads are coming in fast and furious from now through the end of June, and we want to get it to Wisconsin families, we're going to be distributing right from our warehouse.
The drive-through distribution event starts tomorrow at 4 in the afternoon, and don't forget, you can help community members in need at the final Food Drive Fridays event tomorrow. Donations of non-perishable foods and money will support the Hunger Task Force of La Crosse. Donation locations will be at Valley View Mall, by the La Crosse County Courthouse, and by Big Lots on La Crosse's south side. Thank you so much for joining us for this coronavirus update, and we hope you'll join us tonight at 5, 6, and 10. Have a great day.